All right, welcome back, giant growers. This is Chris Brown, and it is patch update number 2. It is May 25th, 2023, and we are getting towards the end of May, about ready to hit Memorial Day. And where are the pumpkin plants? Well, as you can see, they are looking amazing. We are going to start, like we did last week, with the 1109 Jutris. This is my only greenie in the patch, in the competition patch, and the growth, I gotta say, is absolutely incredible from last week. If you guys remember, the cobra head was popping up. It has now laid down, and it's looking really good. In fact, we're getting right to the end here, almost to the hoop house, so we're going to have to pull this hoop house down in a couple days. Now, last night was a frigid 44 degrees. We got a little bit cooler than I was hoping for, and I unfortunately never ever did get my heating cables plugged in. So I have heat cables under each one of these plants in all 3 hoop houses, but I did not get any of them plugged in just because my new patch is a little bit far from where the electrical outlet is, so I'm gonna have to get quite a bit gonna have to figure out, let's just put it that way, figure out a way to get some extension cords out here for next season, or if I got to do fans later on this year. But anyways, a beautiful looking plant, could not be happier. A lot of secondaries starting to come off and come off really well. In fact, this one's coming off so good it's pushing right through that leaf. Maybe we'll get it on top there. I'll have to adjust some things with that, otherwise we're gonna run into issues there. But this thing already just wants to shoot straight up. See that? I'm gonna have to try to pull that down now. Oh, and there's another secondary coming out. We're having a secondary rush hour here. So I'm gonna have to get in and do, with my bamboo army, do some manipulation just so everything pops out correctly. No big deal. That's what we do. That's what we do with these pumpkins to get them looking right, into a somewhat of a Christmas tree type pattern to start. As you can see, another nice secondary there. But a little leaf scorch, you guys seen that last week. So far, after that one day, I really had the heat up way, probably close to 120 in here. Lost a few leaves, as you can see over on Ruby. But since that, been really good growth. All right, speaking of Ruby, let's go over to the 1461 Roaba. Like I said, a couple leaves that we showed you last week that got fried, but since then, looking absolutely perfect. It is a beautiful plant. Everything's growing very well. In fact, it's growing so well that we are down to, I'm gonna say, what, 2 inches? So this hoop house, even though we got 40s tonight and tomorrow night, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna have to pull it off here either tomorrow or the next day. I literally only have probably a few hours left on this one. But anyways, that means it's growing very well, which is great. Got some secondaries coming off, more secondaries. This plant is doing phenomenal. Very happy with it. Just got to watch it in case it gets too warm. We do have some mid to upper 80s in the forecast next week, which I'm excited about. That means we can eventually, or we can lose the hoop houses for good, I'm hoping. But very nice looking plants in hoop house number 1. Let's go to number 2. All right, hoop house number 2, middle of the patch. We got a 2365 Wolf. Looking really good here. Nice and starting to really fill in nice. Got some nice sized leaves. Nice run on it. It's really running really well. In fact, I would say we're at 6 or 7 feet now, which is just phenomenal. Starting to really pick up steam, which is good. Plenty of room left, as this is the 26-foot house. So I got plenty of room left on this side. And, you know, secondaries popping out, looking really good there. As you can see down under there, looking really well. Gotta bury this now that it's laying down. But overall, just beautiful. Can't be more impressed, and I couldn't be more happier with how this is looking. Because I just had the 12365, so it was one shot at a decent plant. So, and obviously a lot of pumpkin season left, so plants don't mean much if you can't get, you know, everything else to work together. But very, very happy with how it looks so far. All right, over to the 1552 Young. This is the pretty orange pumpkin, and this is also the one, if you guys remember, that I accidentally planted the wrong way. It was aiming right for the 2365. So what I did was I started to U-turn it. And as you can see, the U-turning is almost complete. We are starting here, going around, coming this way. So as you can see, if we get down here, you'll see that I have the vines buried. I still have some of the bamboo helping me here, turning it slowly. It's slowly being turned. Oh, we don't want weeds in the garden. No weeds. All right, look at that. Almost completely turned. And really what we want is we want this pumpkin to come around and just shoot straight for the, well, you can't see it, but the fence. Well, actually you can see it, the fence out there. So it is almost a complete U-turn. I would say within 2 days, we will be aiming straight at that fence, and we'll be well on our way to growing a beautiful plant, which hopefully will lead to a beautiful pumpkin. Now, because this is U-turned, I'm going to have to do some manipulation with some of the secondaries to make sure I now U-turn those to go out this way. So a little more work. Like I said, I really wish I hadn't done this, but you know, in case you make that mistake or you plant a pumpkin by seed into the garden, and your vine happens to come up the wrong way and is starting to aim in the exact opposite direction you want it to go, this is kind of a nice little, this shows you how to turn it and manipulate it to where you want it to go. And the advantage is these vines, you can manipulate them. It's just going to be a little bit of a mess with the secondaries because you have secondaries coming off this way, and this way. So now you're gonna have to, you know, really use that bamboo army of skewers to really, you know, manipulate and train your secondaries in the way you want them to go. All right, but overall, plants look amazing in hoop house number 2. Let's hit up number 3, right. See what we got. Before we jump into hoop house number 3, just looking out at my pasture here. Horses grazing away. There was a bunch of deer down there last night. So obviously you see there's horses there, and you see I have absolutely no fence up. So my project here the next couple days is I'm gonna try to get a fence up, because you just never know if these horses are gonna get nosy, and once I pull these hoops off, I don't want them walking into the garden. So, but there's plenty of grass out there right now, so they are as content as a bunch of horses can be. All right, let's get in this hoop house. Let's see what we got. All right, so first pumpkin plant up here is the 2405 Gunstrom. Very nice plant. This plant is looking amazing, especially considering that these two did not have any sort of protection whatsoever up until a week ago. They were just in the elements, and you can tell they've really put on the growth this last week since I got this hoop house up. Again, never did plug in any of the heat cables. A little bummed about that, but you know what? Next year it'll all be good. So, but we'll catch up, because the heat catches everybody up. Once the heat sets in, your plants start growing like crazy, and it's not so much about, you know, if this is 2 feet shorter than the other ones. It's about, can we in the next 2 weeks get these up to where they need to be to try to get a pollination around. I like to go June 15th to June 20th. I really like to get it before the summer solstice, because it's I don't know, I just like the pumpkins pollinated before we hit the longest day of the year. So with that being said, that's the goal with this one, and it's really starting to come really nice. It's laid down completely. Secondary starting to pop off. Really nice looking plant. We'll let it run. It has a few more days, so this one's not a big deal. Very beautiful leaves, beautiful plant. And let's jump over to the 2069 Stelts. The 2069 Stelts. This is the if you guys remember, the 1953 crossed with the 2350 Ginger, the Tiger King. So as you can see, a little bit of leaf burn when I had those hot days, but nothing bad. And this plant is really bushy in the middle. If you look over the top there, really bushy. So hopefully there's some secondaries starting to come off, but as you can see, I got a lot of little leaves kind of tucked down in there. So once we get a few more big leaves on there, I'm going to go in and trim that up a little. We don't need leaves overlapping other leaves. Like this leaf is perfectly fine. I don't need that leaf below it. So it's going to do absolutely nothing, and eventually probably just cause issues. So some vine and trimming maintenance I'm going to have to do on this one. As you can see, this one's growing pretty fast. We have probably at the most 2 days left there. So hoops will be coming off here at the very latest in about 3 days, but we may have to take some off earlier. As you can see, the secondaries are starting to pop out here. Looking really good. Looking really good. So again, all I got to say is the patch as of May 25th, everything is looking really good. I'm very happy with the growth, the way the plants look, and most importantly, how they all laid down. They all laid down very well. I didn't have any major issues. I had a little bit of a split on one, but it's very minor. Not going to cause any sort of issues. So that is patch update number 2 for the year. Plants look great. Thanks for following. Please like and subscribe to the Garden of Giants channel. We'll get more and more videos out throughout the summer, and we'll show you the progress. Journey to 2,000 pounds. Let's see if we can do it.